In every sport, there are competitors, and then there are the rare leaders who redefine the game. In French Ring, these are the ones who push boundaries, inspire the next generation, and ensure the sport not only survives but thrives. Our guest began in Mexico, first studying veterinary medicine, then training service dogs for autistic children. That foundation led to a lifelong devotion to working dogs, and eventually to the demanding world of French Ring. From there, the achievements stacked up: certified level 3 Decoy, more than 30 international trials, Canadian Cups, CRA championships, and podium finishes abroad, including vice champion of Mexico in 2023. He became the first Canadian Decoy ever invited to the legendary Saint-Nabour trial in France. Today, as president of the Canadian Ring Association, he continues to mentor, compete, breed, and lead, shaping the future of the sport not only in Canada, but internationally. Welcome, Saul Garcia. For listeners who may not be familiar, what exactly is French Ring and what makes it unique among other working dog sports?
Well, French Ring started as a selective program, meaning the program was created to select dogs that will end up in the army, law enforcement, and obviously in sport. So that's the base of the sport. That's the spirit of the sport. Now, what makes us the big difference between the sports is the control. Our program is very long. Level 3, which is the max level in the sport, it's a 45 minutes. So the dog is 45 minutes in the field, doing a mix of agility, obedience, and protection work. So it's very specific, very technical, requires a lot of control, and it needs a dog that is well balanced.
I was going to ask about the dog's temperament. Talk to me briefly about that.
So what we mean well-balanced dog that is capable to fly between drives, super intense for a jump, and then a lot of control for positions. And then from there, you go to another by attack, and it goes back to an exercise, which is like, for example, guarding the basket.
Right.
The object guard is the signature of the sport, where the dog is by himself, guarding the basket, and the decoy is trying to steal the basket from the dog, but the dog is by himself. And he has to do it on his own.
So it's his own judgment.
Everything.
Beautiful. Okay, great. Thank you for clearing that up.
No problem.
So now that we understand the sport, let's go back to your own beginnings. Now, how did you personally first discover French Ring, and what drew you to it?
Well, it's a funny story, actually. During the program, when I was learning how to train service dogs back in Mexico, two of my classmates were already French Ring trainers. And that was the first time I actually saw a Malinois attacking someone in the suit. And I saw that, and I was like, wow, I want to try it.
And these are the dogs that are most commonly used, right? The Belgian Malinois?
Yes, that's the most popular breed. But 20-something years ago, that was actually the first time I saw a Malinois.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, that's a really cool street dog. You know, you look at Malinois, and they're very rustic. And I was like, I want to try it.
All right. So do you remember a moment early on that confirmed to you this would become much more than just a sport? I mean, was it a hobby? Then you realized, oh, hang on a second, this is a big thing. This is a big international sport. What was it that confirmed that to you?
I guess it started as a hobby. Just something that I like. Wow, it's pretty intense. It takes a lot of physical effort, not only from the dog, but also from the guy in the suit. And then I just got hooked. And I was like, well, I want to make a career out of it. I want to certify it. I want to be one of the best out there. And I'll try it.
You're like a fairly young guy. So how long? I mean, you like more than, what, 30 years involved? How old are you?
No,
I'm kidding around. But what are we looking at? 10, 15?
25.
25, come on.
Yeah, 25 years.
You lived and worked in Mexico, Canada, the U.S. How have those different places or experiences shaped your approach to training and handling dogs?
Well,
were there different levels of
Yes. When I started, the dogs in Mexico were a little bit crazy. You know, they were like very powerful dogs, a little bit reckless, if you want to say it.
Due to bad training?
No, it was just the lines. The lines
really?
In those years, they were very strong lines. The sport was different. The sport was very demanding physically for the dog. There was a lot of opposition from the decoys, so you needed very strong dogs. But very strong dogs come with a lot of challenges.
And they were still Belgian Malinois?
All Belgian Malinois.
Where does the German Shepherd come into play here?
There's few handlers, top handlers that like German Shepherds. I think that because it takes a little bit longer to bring the dog into a higher level. Personally, I believe the German Shepherd is more capable to take bad decisions from the handler. He'll forgive the handler.
Oh, really?
Well, the Malinois will stick to that idea.
Word to word and whatever.
And then it's very hard to take them out of that. So the German Shepherd is more forgiving.
How have those different experiences shaped your approach in training and handling dogs?
I would say it will really depend on the lines that we were working in different countries. Mexicans, when I started my career, they have a lot of Belgian dogs, very strong lines, very strong dogs, and the training was very intense. Moving to Canada, I found a little bit more of a mix of French lines, which are dogs that are more sensitive, slightly easier to handle and to train, and the mechanics of the training totally change, right? So we have to make those changes according to the lines that we're working. And it's very similar in the U.S.
U.S. and
Very
I would think North American stuff versus.
I mean, North America means Mexico as well,
I'm
right?
saying, I'm thinking about for Europe now.
Yeah.
Then work in Europe as well.
European, And in Europe, it depends on the region. Like each region have their own lines.
Yeah.
The north of France, they're the strong ones, and everyone who's close to Belgium,
Of course. Yeah.
So it's a lot of influence, right? It crosses over the borders.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much that. It makes your training change.
A little personal thing here. Outside of training and competition, what keeps you grounded, my friend, every day?
My girlfriend.
Yeah, your girlfriend. Okay.
She's the same part of my life.
There we go. Work. Yeah.
I think I'm a workaholic.
Yeah. You started out in veterinary studies and later moved into protection sports. What drove that transition from veterinary studies to protection sports? How does one flip like that?
I think it was more the adrenaline in the sports.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I love adrenaline. I'm a junkie about adrenaline.
Yeah.
And veterinary medicine, there's a lot of adrenaline when you work in ER. But the work in the suit, the working with animals and trying to control an animal and make the animal understand what you want and perform for you, that there's no other feeling that can compare to that.
That is going to lead me nicely to the next question. You've been often described by your peers as someone who brings out the best in both dogs and handlers. So how do you actually achieve that balance?
I think it's a passion to start with. And the passion is what drives me into putting that time and effort with my handlers and with the dogs. Being in a high competitive level, it requires a lot of consistency and discipline. And that's my job. My job is to make sure that they are disciplined in the sport, because discipline is what is going to achieve titles. And if you don't know how to bring people into that, there's no way you're going to win.
What about someone like you who started young? What about a younger handler? How do you approach a much younger handler who's starting off green behind the ears and
explaining? You have to explain from A to Z. You have to make sure that they understand what you want.
You relate to your past?
Yes. Actually, it's opposite to my past. And my past is like, you figure it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how it was.
Run with it.
Yeah, run with it and do it.
Has there ever been a dog or a handler that completely surprised you, like that someone you didn't expect to excel but did?
It's something that we call green handlers. Green handlers are the ones that they just started. They've never actually worked with dogs in their lives. And they just got a dog and they started training, being consistent, competed, and win. And I have one in my club right now that I was like not expecting that, and we make him a Canadian champion in Ring 1.
How long did that take? How long did that take?
It took 6 months only.
6 months?
Which is crazy. It's crazy.
What is a normal cycle?
Years.
Really?
Yes.
Wow,
So
amazing.
that for me was a surprise, a big surprise, a really good surprise.
What has been your biggest challenge in growing and promoting the sport nationally?
I think that our biggest problem in Canada is the distance. Canada is huge. And
East-West.
And yes, and trying to connect all the provinces to make the sport grow, it's very hard. And also our weather. Having 6 months of winter, when we do a sport that is outdoors, it makes a very, very challenging situation. Because a lot of people, they quit during winter. It's not the same training outside and training in a small room.
Working dogs are sometimes misunderstood by the general public. How do you balance the sport, safety, and public perception of these dogs?
I think that the biggest myth with any protection dog or sport dogs that do bite in the sport, it's that they think that those dogs are aggressive. And they're no social, and they cannot be in public. Only in the field, they're fine. In our sport, there's a lot of people just hanging around in the field. As you can see in the back, there's a lot of people right now. And the dogs, they have to be social, well-balanced, and connected to the exercises. Because otherwise, they get banned for life if there's an accident. So those dogs, from puppy stage to when they're actually competing, there's a lot of socialization with those dogs to get them used to the public and to be capable to live in society. Working in North America, most of us, we live with these dogs. These dogs are our pets, which means you bring these dogs everywhere. And that makes that social part very, very, very interesting because they're used to public.
Which brings me to one thing that I have a very, very difficult time with. And a lot of people know what this is. Separation anxiety.
Oof.
Woof, huh?
Oof.
Woof, 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 or woof? Talk to me about that. And does that infiltrate somehow into your world?
It does. It does. For a dog to perform in our sport, they need to be independent, which means they have to detach from the handler, but still listen to the handler. And that detachment requires a dog that doesn't get that anxiety, right? And it's a work when you teach the puppy to be out there working with the handler in the back, but not right beside the dog. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Can you share a moment where when you felt the sport itself was under threat? I mean, whether it was from a misunderstanding or politics or lack of support, and how would you deal with it?
So yes, the sport had its challenges, and one of those was the communication with France. France is our main entity who regulates the sport, and when they changed the rules, we had to adopt those rules right away. The problem is our championships are not in the same months because of our weather. We cannot do competitions in January or February here in Canada because it's winter, and they are ahead of us. So when they make changes in their championship, it's automatic. Right after the final, the changes are official, but we cannot do that because our championship is like 2 months behind that.
We don't have indoor facilities?
Not for a sport, like no for a trial.
Really?
Yeah.
It needs to be outdoors, natural environment, and
it's just very hard to do the sport in the sand or in a horse arena.
Oh, okay.
It's just very complex for the dog and dangerous.
You've worked with police canines, personal protection dogs, and top competition dogs. What's the common thread that connects those worlds?
The building of a puppy.
Really?
Yes. Everything starts with a puppy. And that building, I would say, is pretty much general. Obviously, we have certain technicalities that make difference between a sport dog and police dog. But the base of a puppy, it's the same. And being social. Social is one of our priorities.
And you bring that up quite often.
It is super important. Super, super important.
Okay.
Because even police officers now, they live with their dogs. These police officers have families. They have kids. They have other pets. And if you have a crazy dog that is super good on the street, but it cannot live with that family, that's not going to work. So our priority is to make sure that that dog is part of the family, the harmony is there, and then that will help in the street work.
If you could change one thing about how people in Canada in general view or approach working dogs, what would it be? If you can change one thing.
That they're not dangerous. Working dogs are not dangerous. They're actually...
But how would you convince? How would you convince the skeptic or somebody who's got reservations or phobias or whatever, anything?
Well, if it's a phobia, I'll put him in the suit and then I make them pet the dog after.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You go the hard. We go hard.
I go hard. I go hard.
Right. Okay. Now looking ahead, Where do you see French Ring in Canada 5 to 10 years from now? And what role do you hope to play in that future?
I think for us, the most important thing is making our sport public. I think French Ring, it's been a little bit behind the curtains, and we need to expose the sport.
Network, media,
Events like this.
TSN, ESPN.
Yes. I mean, if possible.
Or not ESPN, but yeah.
But make it public. Make it public and tell people what the sport is about. Seeing our dogs, being in contact with our dogs, that not because the dog is biting a guy in the suit, it means that you cannot pet that dog or the dog cannot be around people.
Okay.
That for me is very important.
Okay, you've talked a lot about the influence of people on the dogs, your influence on the dogs. Is there a lesson that you've learned from the dogs themselves that you think applies far beyond the sports? Maybe in life in general.
I think I learn from every single dog. Every single dog is different. They have their own personalities. And sometimes we underestimate their capacity to comprehend things. And that for me is always a learning experience with each dog that I touch. Every single dog, I will learn something from them.
They have a great influence, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it goes both ways.
Always.
Across all of your accomplishments, competitor, decoy, breeder, and now CRA president, what has been your proudest moments so far?
I think for me, it was to be able to compete in France. Win in France, put a dog in the selectives in France, and just being there with a dog and decoying, and a dog that it was training Canada, proudly training Canada with my team indoors during winter.
Yeah.
That for me, that's my dream that came true. And I still live in the dream.
If you could be remembered for one contribution, whether to the sport, whether to the dogs or one dog in particular, or people, what would you want that to be?
My breeding program.
Your breeding program?
Yes, because at the end,
Elaborate.
all this sport work, police work, it goes down to the breeding program, which is have the best Malinois out there.
Beautiful.
And that's my goal.
Beautiful.
And I want to be remembered with my line, with my Malinois that I selected, that I bred, that I built, that I competed with.
A great partnership.
That's what I want.
So now we're going to finish off real quickly with a little rapid fire round of questions. You're stuck on a desert island. You like that one, eh? But you can choose a Belgian Malinois or a German Shepherd or any of your usual working dogs. Which breed would you take with you? A Chihuahua, a Pekingese, or a Basset Hound, or any?
Well, I will definitely take the Chihuahua, not only because I'm Mexican, so I won't feel lonely in the island, but I think that the Chihuahua will force me to find food. Otherwise, the Chihuahua will make it know that he's hungry.
Okay, good question.
Good
answer. Great answer. Okay. Here's another quick instinct answer. What's the single most important trait in a dog? Is it drive, intelligence, or resilience?
Drive.
Drive?
Drive.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Elaborate real quickly.
Drive is what is going to make the dog push through everything.
Beautiful. Beautiful. If you could instantly master another dog sport besides French Ring, which one would it be?
Hunting dogs.
Hunting dogs.
I love hunting dogs.
Beautiful.
I love hunting dogs because I'm a purist. I love the pure sense of the dog. And for me, those natural drives are unbelievable.
Okay, now here's the last one is I like because we've all seen these little snippets on Instagram and Facebook. What's the funniest or most surprising thing a dog has ever done to you during training or competition?
Having a dog that knows the whole program is doing by itself. That for me is like
just doing by itself without
besides
no commands.
No commands, everything. They just go straight to the line, and that for me is like, oh my god. We have a problem. We have a smart one. Oh, yeah.
You can lose your job.
I can lose my job. The dog can do everything on his own.
Beautiful. All right. Well, that's our lightning round. Saul, thank you. Muchas gracias for your story, your perspective, and your passion with us today at United Canine.
A lot of fun.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right.
Perfect.